Hey, what's going on, everybody? Hope we're doing great today. Happy Friday. Got the public betting guide for MLB and some preseason NFL today, so be sure to like and subscribe. Check out all my betting links in the description below to get in on the action. Go ahead, turn on those notification bells. Yeah, we'll hop in it here. Guardians and Rays. 53% of the money on the Guardians plus 1.5. 53% of the money on the under 8. And then 71% of the money on the Rays money line. Yankees and Marlins. 71% of the money on the Marlins minus 1.5. 87% of the money on the under 8. And then 78% of the money on the Marlins money line. Twins and Phillies. 88% of the money on the Phillies minus 1.5. The 50% on the over 9.5. And then 73% of the money on the Phillies money line. Athletics and Nationals, 92% of the money on the Nationals minus 1.5. 87% of the money on the over 9. And then 79% of the money on the Nationals money line. Reds and Pirates, 65% of the money on the Reds minus 1.5. 54% of the money on the over 9, and then 58% of the money on the Pirates money line. Cubs and Blue Jays, 93% of the money on the Cubs plus 1.5, 88% of the money on the under 9, and then 99% of the money on the Cubs money line. Braves and Mets, 51% of the money on the Mets plus 1.5, 51% of the money on the under 9.5, and then 97% of the money on the Braves money line. Tigers and Red Sox, 75% of the money on the Tigers plus 1.5, 87% of the money on the under 9, and then 97% of the money on the Tigers money line. Brewers and White Sox, 98% of the money on the White Sox plus 1.5, 90% of the money on the over 8.5, and then 93% of the money on the Brewers money line. Cardinals and Royals, 67% of the bets are on the Cardinals minus 1.5, 79% of the money on the over 11, and then 84% of the money on the Cardinals money line. Angels and Astros, 94% of the money on the Astros minus 1.5, 83% of the money on the under 8.5, and then 77% of the money on the Astros money line. Padres and Diamondbacks, 81% of the money on the Diamondbacks plus 1.5, 81% of the money on the under 9, and then 75% of the money on the Diamondbacks money line. Rockies and Dodgers, 81% of the money on the Rockies plus 1.5, 83% of the money on the over 8.5, and then 69% of the money on the Dodgers money line. Orioles and Mariners, 86% of the money on the Orioles plus 1.5, 61% of the money on the over 7.5, and then 73% of the money on the Orioles money line. And then the Rangers and Giants, 91% of the bets are on the Rangers minus 1.5, 92% of the money on the over 8.5, and then 99% of the money on the Rangers money line. And then we'll go to NFL here. We got preseason. Falcons and Dolphins, 57% of the money on the Dolphins plus 2.5, 59% of the money on the over 36.5, and then 93% of the money on the Dolphins money line. Packers and Bengals, 90% of the money on the Packers minus 3.5, 92% of the money on the over 35.5, and then 93% of the money on the Packers money line. Steelers and Bucks, 80% of the money on the Steelers minus 3, 83% of the money on the under 39.5, and then 94% of the money on the Steelers money line. Giants and Lions, 88% of the money on the Giants minus 1.5, 67% of the money on the under 35, and then 62% of the money on the Lions money line. Commanders and Browns, 89% of the money on the Browns minus 3, 91% of the money on the under 38.5, then 93% of the money on the Browns money line. Broncos and Cardinals, 80% of the money on the Broncos minus 5, 85% of the money on the under 37, and then 88% of the money on the Broncos money line. Titans and Bears, 75% of the money on the Titans plus 3.5, 66% of the money on the under 37.5, and then 71% of the money on the Bears money line. Colts and Bills, 95% of the money on the Bills plus 4.5, 83% of the money on the under 38.5, and then 61% of the bets are on the Colts money line. Jets and Panthers, 55% of the money on the Jets plus 3.5, 75% of the money on the over 36.5, and then 97% of the money on the Panthers money line. Jaguars and Cowboys, 56% of the money on the Cowboys plus 4.5, 77% of the money on the over 37, and then 52% of the money on the Jaguars money line. Eagles and Ravens, 81% of the money on the Ravens minus 4, 87% of the money on the over 34.5, and then 92% of the money on the Ravens money line. Chargers and Rams, 94% of the money on the Rams minus 3, 99% of the money on the over 33.5, and then 64% of the money on the Rams money line. And there's some games on Sunday. 2 games on Sunday. I might as well cover these. Chiefs and Saints. It's a 50-50 split on the spread. 93% of the money on the under 37.5, and then 99% of the money on the Saints money line. Then the 49ers and Raiders, 65% of the money on the the Niners minus 3.5, 69% of the money on the under 35.5, and then 69% of the money on the 49ers money line. That's going to be it for the video. Good luck with your picks and parlays on Friday. Hope you guys all cash out, and I'll see you guys Saturday. Have a good one.